Hello, and welcome to the booth spreadsheet training. In this video, we are going to use a fake location and a bunch of fake information, but it will work exactly the same for you to fill out your real booth spreadsheet. Now, as you can see, I have only one location listed right now. It's just for simplicity's purposes. So what you do when you are getting after your service units booth lottery, you're going to open the spreadsheet and you're going to fill it out. You will have probably more than one row for each location. If, say, I had 2 days scheduled, I could easily copy and insert or paste that, and then I will come over here and I will change the day to the next day, and I will make sure that my times are correct for that day. Now, to start with, we're just going to go over some of the simple information. The business name should be a simple naming convention. If you have a Walgreens, you can just write Walgreens. If it's Walmart, don't put any dashes, just say Walmart, and so on and so forth. In the address, you're going to use whatever this physical street address is of the location. Use Google to find out the exact address for your locations, because if it's not found in Google Maps, it won't show up on the Cookie Finder website for customers to find. And it probably won't populate into eBuddy correctly either, because it'll give me an error when I upload it. Next up is the door column. This is where you would put if there's more than one door or a specific door the location management needs you to use. That's where you would put that information. The city is the city that is of the location. Same with the state, whatever the location state is, as well as the zip code, whatever the location zip code is. And it has to, again, be found or findable, searchable in Google Maps. It has to be an actual location. Next is the email column. In the email column, you will use your email address as the booth champion. Same thing with the phone number. The phone number is going to be your phone number as booth champion. You can use the fax if you have a fax, if you want to use the fax, but it is not a required column. Preferred contact is email, fax, or I believe both is an option, but you can go to the info tab to find out more. It is, in fact, fax, email, phone, or both. Those are the only options you can put in preferred contact. If you would prefer to use your email or your phone number, that's where you would write that. Here, I'm just going to write email, and then I'm going to move on to my next column, which is the contact name, which is your name as booth champion. Here we have GSCB because I'm filling this out as GSCB. Next up is the location notes. Now, this is exactly where you would type out every single detail that your location management requires of any troops using their location area. If you need to set up the cookie booth table somewhere specific, that's where you would write this information. And be as detailed as possible. It's helpful for troops to know all of the information. If you can, I don't know, whatever information that you have from the location management that needs to be shared with troops, that's where you would put that information in the location notes column. And it should be listed for each iteration of the dates that you're adding and the time slots that you're adding. And don't worry, I'll go into more detail on that. Next up is your service unit number. I know this is in blue and most of the blue columns are not needed. However, we do require that you enter your service unit number, your 3-digit service unit number. So starting with the 6 and whatever the last 2 digits are, that's where you would put that information. If you do not do that, I will do that for you. Next up is the date column. This is where you would put the day of the actual booth taking place, and you will do a row for each date of each location. So if I had a second location for both 2/9 and 2/10, or whatever the date is for this year, that's where you would put that. Next up is the start and end time column. In the start time, you must have the AM or PM added to your times. So if it is 9 in the morning, you have to write 9 a.m. It can be lowercase, it can be capitalized. Don't use periods. However, just make sure that you have the AM and the PM. If you don't do that, it's mostly easy for me to fix. However, sometimes it is not easy to fix if it doesn't do it correctly. So Just go back and make sure that anytime you're adding a start and end time, that you have your AM and PM listed correctly, because it will populate into eBuddy if you accidentally wrote 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. or something like that. Next up is the time allotment. Now, time allotment should only be digits, like literal numerals. It's going to be the time allotment between the start and end time of the booth slot that you're offering to troops. So if you had an 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. time slot, that's 2-hour time slots for each troop that could fulfill those time slots. So that means 2-hour time slots. So 8 to 9 to 10 would be 2 hours. So 8 to 10 would be 2 hours. 10 to 12 would be 2 hours. And then 12 to 2 would be 2 hours. So then that means I have 3 time slots. And you don't have to do that for each one, you do have to do that for each iteration of a time or a date that you have time slots for. So say I had troop 1 that is filling only 1 time slot at 8 o'clock a.m. Just by the way, you don't have to fill out time notes. You can totally ignore that, as well as available date. That's not necessary. All cookie booths will populate into eBuddy and be available for selection upon the date and time that council has notated throughout trainings. So let's go back to this. Say we had troop 1 that is filling time slot at 8 a.m. That means I have 2 other time slots that I could fill that day. So say I had 2 other troops, troop 10 and troop 100, that are filling the other 2 time slots. So what I did was I copied the information from the previous row. I'm just going to paste it here. And so I know that this time slot is from 8 a.m. to 10 o'clock a.m. So then my second time slot on 2-9 is going to start at 10 a.m. and it's going to end at 12 p.m. See, got to make sure that you're entering all of that information correctly. So then my third time slot for my third troop is going to start at 12 p.m. and it's going to end at 2 p.m. And they're all 120-minute time slots. So then what I need to do over here is I know troop 1 is going to be at 8 a.m., troop 10 is going to be at 10 o'clock a.m., and then troop 100 is going to be at 12 o'clock p.m. So say I didn't have any troops for my next day, the 10th, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. I could just leave the troop and the time slot as well as the time allotment empty, and that means anyone, when this booth spreadsheet is populated into eBuddy, can sign up for those time slots when they want or if they want. So let's say Nemo's Fish Food gave me one more day. We're just going to paste that in here. And for some reason, it just deleted it. So we're going to copy, and I probably just cut it instead of doing it the correct way. So here we go. We're going to change that to 2:11. And we're going to do from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So say I only had one troop that day that was signed up at 12 p.m. I could also, all of my time slots are still 120 minutes. So say troop 10 is going to fill in a booth slot at 12 p.m. on that day. All I would do is enter 12 p.m. that day. And then I could leave the other 2 time slots empty. And then what would happen is troop 10 would be signed up for that 12 p.m. time slot in between 8 and 2. But then in eBuddy, other troops would see that there's availability from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then again from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So there would be 2 open slots in eBuddy for troops to sign up manually by going into eBuddy and selecting those times. If by chance you say you had like a split day, um, and you had one troop at 12 p.m. and another one from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., I could do exactly the same thing. I'm just gonna copy and paste that info, and then I'm gonna come back up here and I'm gonna change this to, it's still gonna be troop 10, and we're gonna say they're gonna do the 10 a.m. time slot. I would just come in here and change this to 10 a.m. So they're all signed up for the 2 time slots. And then anybody would read, what you should really do is change this to 12 p.m. so it doesn't screw up your time slots and add extra information in. Most of the time, if you turn in a spreadsheet and I notice something like that, I will fix it, but I would prefer it if you could update it to be correct so it's not adding those extra slots into eBuddy for your troops to sign up. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out. Again, this spreadsheet will be due to be filled out for all of your locations, dates, and time slots, and any selections your troops made during the booth lottery by the time that is mentioned in the training. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to membercare@cbgsc.org, or you can contact us directly at productprograms@cbgsc.org. Thank you so much.